held a round table, and peanut farmers made sure they had a voice at the table. They selected Meredith McNair Rogers. She's a farmer in Camilla, Georgia. She said, today I'm representing the U.S. Peanut Federation. We're comprised of Southern peanut farmers and the American Peanut Shellers and Buying Point Association. She said the price loss program, including in the 2018 Farm Bill, works for U.S. peanut growers, and we want it to continue. She also said that the cost of production, increases in planting and harvesting has all increased. The cost of fertilizer for our peanut crop has doubled this past year. Along with these unforeseen expenses, she said, our heavy machinery has also spiked in both cost and demand. As many of you know, the equipment necessary for growing peanuts can only be used for the planting and harvesting, which includes a digger, a shaker, and a picker. She is speaking in Washington for peanut farmers while they're in the field.
Cooler weather is on the horizon, providing a valuable opportunity to deworm your cattle with Safeguard. When temperatures begin to drop, parasite activity on the pasture declines as they prepare to take a break for the winter. That's the time to clean out those summer and fall parasites with Safeguard so you can feed the cattle and not the worms this winter. Available in blocks, cubes, pellets, or free choice mineral, Safeguard feed formulations are the convenient, labor-saving way to deworm cattle. Remember to consult your veterinarian for assistance in the diagnosis, treatment, and control of parasitism. See label for feeding instructions, meat withhold, and milk discard.
For even more agricultural news, be sure to go to our website, southeastagnet.com. I'm Tyron Spearman for Southeast AgNet.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
We'll have a nice day with clouds and sunshine. High today 87 to 90, then becoming mainly clear this evening, low 72 to 75. Expect showers by tomorrow afternoon. Saturday will be partly sunny with a passing shower in the afternoon and a high of 84 to 88. Partly sunny Sunday, high 85 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
Fine Arts of Ocala's 54th Art Festival is back. Mark your calendar for October 23rd to 24th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. 151 artists from around the country will compete for $27,000 in awards. Enjoy live music on 2 stages, chairs for relaxing, food trucks, children's activities presented by the Appleton Museum, and so much more. And it's all free. Admission, parking, children's art projects, and live entertainment. Fine Arts for Ocala, and a fun outing for the entire family. Don't miss out. Again, that's October 23rd to 24th from 10 to 5 each day. Presenting sponsor, Palm Chevrolet.
Hi, this is Jack O'Brien, and I could tell you stories. You never see a cat in the community where I live. Well, there aren't any, and it's all due to Catherine Blackmore. She was born in London. She married Bill Blackmore, a GI, and moved to the U.S. back in 1970. About 15 years ago, they were the very first couple to buy a home in Big Bass Lake Villas right there on 152nd Street. Catherine was one of the kids who'd been moved out of London during the Blitz. She lived on a farm with more than a dozen other kids under conditions that were, at best, cramped and uncomfortable. Food was scarce. What she could hide in her sweater was usually stolen while she was sleeping. She figured the cats that wandered all over the barn, which had been turned into a dorm, were the thieves. So she hated cats. She despised cats. Whenever someone would move into Big Bass, she'd be over there greeting them, and you could count on it. She'd shake her finger at the newcomers and say, "Remember the deed restrictions say no cats." Well, the deed restrictions didn't say that. That was just how Catherine planned to keep cats out of the neighborhood. So after a while, people started repeating her story to neighbors like it was a fact. And more neighborhoods grew. The people would pass on the fiction of the no cats deed restriction, and nobody ever looked it up. Which says a lot about the popularity of cats, I guess. Anyway, there was a law firm back then doing almost all the real estate closings, Palmer, Beckwith, and Martini. They had a room fitted out for a brand new $50,000 IBM System 360. There was some software could write any agreement, compose any lawsuit, express any pleading, divorce anybody, adopt a child, write a last will, you name it. Well, old man Beckwith thought it was too good to be true. He'd been opposed to the expenditure, but he got outvoted. So one day, one of the underlings came into Beckwith's office and he said, "Mr. Martini wanted you to see a new computerized real estate form before we start using it." So Beckwith, who really at that point had been looking for something to do anyway, grabbed it and said, "Well, it's about time. Let me see." I mean, the darn thing was about 30 pages long. It was mostly just stuff that the government says has to be there. Very little about the homes, except the deed restrictions. And that's where Beckwith headed. He opened his file drawer, swiveled in his chair, laid his feet across the files like a footstool. He grabbed his big blue pen, got poised to mark something up, but he found nothing. Page after page, not a single error, not one ambivalence, not one contradiction, not one missed comma, apostrophe, semicolon. The words that should be bold were bold, the words that should be italic were italic. The document was pristine. It was the lamb without blemish. Every deed restriction was airtight. Everything, except one. Beckwith grabbed his phone and pushed a couple buttons until he got an answer. "Hey, Tony, the cat restriction's missing." "The cat restriction? So who's going to fix it? We can't all of a sudden start allowing cats. Geez, people would have a fit if some deeds had it and some didn't. We'll just get it right, okay?" And he hung up the phone with the satisfaction of knowing he'd found something the fancy, expensive computer knew nothing about. So thanks to Dwight Beckwith's bluster, Catherine has accomplished what no silver-tongued lawyer, no animal trapper with a can of sardines and an absence of conscience ever could have. With her force of will alone, she's nearly eliminated an entire species from within a 125-square-mile municipality. This is Jack O'Brien. Thanks for listening.
Like what you've just heard? I Could Tell You Stories with Jack O'Brien is brought to you by Brick City Digital. Hi, I'm Michael Warren, and at Brick City Digital Marketing, we believe every business has a great story to tell. Our job is to help your business tell your story in a way that brings more customers to your door. We help small businesses just like yours with web design, social media, SEO, video, and more. Visit us online at brickcity.com or call 352-351-1131 for a free consultation.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Welcome to Ocala Talks, hour number 2. Jack O'Brien, such a good storyteller. You know, when you look at some of the places, restaurants that received funds from the Revitalization Fund, it's funding to help restaurants and other eligible businesses keep their doors open during the COVID pandemic. Provides restaurants with fundings equal to their pandemic-related revenue loss of up to $10 million per business, no more than $5 million per year physical location. Recipients are not required to repay the funding as long as funds are used for eligible use no later than March 11th of 2023. I pulled up the city of Ocala just to see which restaurants or which businesses received the most money. Ocean Buffet on College Road, $1.62 million in funding they received. It is owned, the primary owner by this is a woman. I don't know that matters any, except the top 3 restaurants in our area to receive food. Suleiman's Italianos, which is 5400 Southwest College Road, got $1.45 million. And then Triple Lee and J Asian Food Inc., which is Tony Sushi, 3405 Southwest College, they got $1.105 million. All 3 of them women-owned. I don't know if that matters one way or the other. I will tell you that 4 of the 5 businesses that got the most money, all women-owned. I'm not making any correlation. I'm just telling you 4 of the top 5 businesses that received money to keep going were women-owned. And by the way, a lot of it, Ocean Buffet, Asian food, Miko Japanese Steakhouse, Kiku Japanese Fusion, China Lee Buffet. A lot of the Asian restaurants received, those were out of the top 6 restaurants to receive money, 5 of them are Asian-style restaurants. Not drawing any correlation there either. I'm just telling you that is the way it is, the way it happened. Empanima's on the list. They received a little over $3.5 million, $350,000. Subway's on the list at a little over $336,000. McDonald's is on the list at almost 300,000. J&C Crab Juicy Seafood, they are 160,000. So a lot of different restaurants on here. But the three that lead the way, Ocean Buffet, $1.62 million. Suleiman Italianos, $1.45 million. And Triple Lee and J, Lee L-I, and J Asian Food Inc., which is Tony Sushi, at $1.1 million. So three of the restaurants, and then it drops from $1.1 million. The next one on the list is $400,000. So the three top restaurants, 1.6, 1.4, that's $3 million, $4 million between the first three restaurants. You don't get that until 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Those three combined are more than the next 15 businesses combined. Those three businesses combined got more money from the federal government in Marion County than the next 16 businesses that are listed on the list. Draw your own conclusions. I'm just telling you that that's where the relief money went, and that's why I'm with Joe Manchin when he says that he's not voting for anything above $1.5 trillion on these infrastructure packages at all. Because we already spent $5.4 trillion on COVID relief. Let that sink in a minute. $5.4 trillion. I'm not saying it wasn't needed. I'm not saying that, you should have refused your $600 stimulus check or your $1,400 stimulus check. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have got your unemployment. All that, I understand why they did it, and it kept people afloat, and it kept people's lives going, and it kept the economy going. But I'm just telling you the numbers right now are $5.4 trillion, and the Democrats want to spend another $1.5 trillion on infrastructure and $3.5 trillion on social. So they want to spend another $5 trillion. So when it's all said and done, the Biden administration will want to have spent $10 trillion extra dollars. Not billion, not million, trillion. If their budgets are pushed through. Now, I'm not saying the $5.4 trillion that was spent during COVID was spent erroneously, although you see reports like the guy down in South Florida that got $8.5 million and bought houses and Ferraris and everything. The oversight and who was checking on what was what, I don't know if that was very good for a guy that didn't have any employees. He had 2 employees, but he said he had a bunch. Nobody checked it. He got $8.5 million that he bought Ferraris with and houses. He's facing federal charges now. They finally caught up with him. But it sets up a lot of people's ability to cheat the system. I'm not saying that happened here in Marion County. I believe these people in Marion County needed the money they asked for. But I am pointing out the fact that the top 3 money getters in Marion County through the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, the 3 of them combined got more than the next 16 restaurants combined. Draw the conclusions you will. I don't know if it means anything or doesn't mean anything, but that's, they got $4.5 million between the 3 of them. Ocean Buffet, Suleiman Italianos, Inc., and Triple Lee and J Asian Food, Inc. $4.5 million between those 3 restaurants. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time to talk birthdays. We'll do that right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. WOCA. The Source.
Max.